Thank you for joining us on Your Fault for Watching for Twat Talk Tuesdays with her HoeNess and the Big Funny. Hello, Big Funny.
I am here. All right.
Yeah.
Since it's just me and you, that's fine, and everybody joins as they join, or we can start when they join, or however you want to do it. But you and me sounds
I
like
really
more...
like the confusion you had earlier when you asked me what a twat is. I've never had to particularly define that for someone before. That was super interesting.
Well,
But
I got to
anyone...
make sure if I'm participating in Twat Talk, and if somebody if I say to somebody on Messenger, hey, join us for, Your Fault for Listening Tuesday night Twat Talk live, and that's the only word they're going to ask me. Well, what do you mean by twat? So what do you mean by twat?
What do I mean by twat? Well, I tend to be really obnoxious when I talk about my sexuality and or my genitalia. I like to be pretty loud about it. I like to be a little in your face because I think that it's warranted a lot. We hear a lot about dicks in life, and I think it's time to hear a lot more about, the female genitalia.
You're right. People do that all the time. They'll say, I'm sorry, my dick was talking. It's about time that we had, it's about time we figure out what twat's got to say. So,
I mean, and men talk to their business all the time. You sidling up to take a piss, and I hear the mumbles.
Sometimes they're grumbles, as I get older, the time between me thinking I got to piss and me having to piss is down to about 37 seconds. You know what I mean?
Well, that is the most obvious time we all talk to our genitals is we're like, no, not yet. Oh God, I-5 traffic, 4 o'clock. No, not yet.
Not now. Especially in the pandemic, you have to, you feel the urge to urinate, and there is not time. Even if you had a 5-minute, time between the time you thought you got to go and the time you got to go. If you, in the pandemic, I mean, there are gas stations with car washes that won't let you use the bathroom or say they don't have a bathroom, because it's for their employees. Because, I mean, think about it. Somebody uses, so you're a convenience store, convenience like gas station place, place where we go get fish, and
not
they got
very convenient these days.
No, it's not very convenient, but like so many places will say they don't have a public restroom, and I'm like, well, then you should not be selling food or drinks, right? If I can't, sit or piss in your establishment, then I really don't need to be buying food from you either. Does that make sense? Is that fair?
Oh yeah. With
Right?
what you put in, you better be able to take it back out.
Exactly. It would be like I'd be like a barber or beauty shop not having a mirror. You know what I mean? It's or
It's gonna be one of those moments too where I'm gonna have to look at that poor cashier and be like, well, I guess I have to talk my vagina into pissing in public today.
Oh, hey, I'm going to places where I can't believe I'm admitting this on the air, but I'm going to places they didn't have a place to use the bathroom, and I just went right around to where their trash can was and pissed right behind it. I mean, like, what am I going to do? Get back in the car and hope I can get somewhere else to pee in 15 seconds? Nope. You know what I mean? I'm doing literally the pee dance. I know that the worker got someplace to piss, right? I'm not, this is not my trick to try to rob the store. Can I use the bathroom? Stick him up. You know what I mean? That's who's gonna. That could work, but.
Well, and also, how much beer of yours do you think I'm gonna manage to drink in that bathroom? Have you seen your bathroom? It doesn't look like a place I want to have a picnic. Come on.
Exactly.
Come on.
You know I'm not going to be in there for any length of time. I'm coming in with surgical hands with my hands up in the air to myself, trying to kick the door open. Trying not to touch anything. At all.
Oh yeah.
Basically, I don't get to go washing your hands after you piss, because if you didn't piss on your hand and your dick was clean inside your pants, I understand. Like for a woman, you gotta hold yourself up. You gotta get the balance. I'm just guessing. Um, like how
I
many
think it
things?
depends on how sober you are. I mean,
Mm,
back in my drinking years, like it was really hard to pull the hovercraft in heels, gin and tonicked up. I mean, like you end up more or less kind of pinballing in the stall a little bit, trying to stay up and not let your ass cheeks touch that toilet. Um,
Try
but
not
the
to
thing
let
that
your
got
ass
me,
cheeks. Who is he? Don't let your ass cheeks touch. Do the hovercraft in heels. In heels, the hovercraft in
it
heels.
heals,
That's a beautiful
and usually
visual.
there's always a line right in the whole room. Uh, and this girl, like she can hear me like having a hard time like trying to keep it up, and she goes, "Honey, don't even try. Those crabs, they pole vault." And I sat right down. I couldn't hold myself up and laugh and pee at the same time. No, I was done that night.
Those crabs, they pole vault. I mean, that sounds
Those
like
crabs,
some.
they pole vault.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like some. That's like Belinda Gump. Like Bubba Gump, Belinda Gump, logic. You know what I mean? That's tight right there. Don't worry about it, honey. Those crabs, if they're crabs, they pole vault. Damn, they pole vault. How many references to pole vaulting have you ever really even heard in a country song ever?
And it was a young girl too, was the thing. Like definitely, like they didn't have that shit in our generation of school. And I thought pole vaulting was something you had to be Ivy League to understand. I was in a ghetto ass bar up in Bellingham, so I'm not really sure. Like, I mean, the type of ghetto that it was like called tropical something, and like it was by train track. It was
Hmm.
yeah.
I've speaking of pole vault, just thinking about the pole vault. I've seen some brothers pole vault, right? But I've never seen a brother, on the bus with a pole vault. You know what I mean? I've never seen anybody. You know what I mean? I ain't never been in the barber shop, and somebody comes in, hey man, that's a that's a that's a Jeffrey Jimmy's. Yeah, yeah, that's the brother live on Central. Central between Central and Rainier. Yeah, yeah. He's a pole vaulter. You know what I mean? I never met I ain't never seen a brothers talk about pole vaulting. You know, never been on a basketball court. Somebody gets fouled. You know what, man? I'm gonna have to quit because y'all messing up my pole vault hand. You know.
Right. No, that's not something you hear very often. But it
so
slayed me. I was done that night.
so so in this is Twat talk. So what is something that far too many women are afraid to talk about loudly that you are not?
Oh, I mean, I've qualified. I need to stop saying I mean so much. It's the ghetto girl coming at me. I mean, uh, I would say I'm out and proud just about everything, and consistently my female friends have to look at me and be like, Lydia, please don't say that. Please don't say that out loud. I've had my girls be like, you're not going to say that on Facebook to everybody, right? And I'm like, I mean, I can't. Uh, One of the
Should.
largest topics I would say is I'm super comfortable looking at talking about uh, my vagina. Just in general, I have very little vagina shame in the totality of it. I'm super comfortable with it, like it's an extension of my family. Like I have conversations with my vagina. I have straight had to take her on walks before on a date. Like she's down there chiming in as he's talking about making chicken parmesan from scratch, and I'm sure he can hear it at this point. Like I'm ready. She's done. She's ready to go home with him. Like we don't need to finish the dinner that he's paying for if he can make chicken parmesan. Uh, but I also considered myself the twat shot expert for years. I got
Watch
really
shot.
good at like staging my own vagina for photographs, right? Because I wasn't gonna let dudes be the only ones to send unsolicited genital pictures. Which Which, again, that's some bad hoe math, right? Because here I am, like, fans only, sending away free fucking pictures of my vagina.
That's, you're right. People would pay for that. There was a comedian one time, and she had like big titties, and like she would go on stage and kind of like lean over, and I'm thinking you're really fucking up, because the women in the audience who aren't attracted to you, who are with a man who might be attracted to you, ain't gonna be able to laugh at you while their man is, oogling you, right? I said to her something like, why don't you get a website? If you're feeling bad about doing, stuff for money, just give half the money for charity and call it Titties for the Kids. you know, you could do, yeah, you could do.
At this point, I'm about ready to like pull a, time machine catfish and just sell pictures of my old vagina, like when she was in her 20s. You
know what? That's not a bad
that's
idea.
Different than selling pictures of her now. Like there's some separation there.
I'm trying so hard to not start making up descriptions that I don't know. You say because you know what I mean. Like all I've heard you said on the previous Twat talk was something about big lips, and I was like, well, do you call your twat Jimmy Walker? Do you just dynamite?
No, I said absence of big lips was my thing.
Oh, absence of big lips. Oh, okay, good. Yeah. Good. Okay, because
right. I like to think of we are walking around with our vaginas on our face, because all the muffs that I've dived, when I sat there and looked at it like eye to eye long enough, I was like, oh, you really do look like Jennifer's face.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a lot like when we look at people's dogs and we're like, oh, the dogs look a lot like the owners. Well, your vagina looks a lot like your face, actually.
So which comes first? Your vagina looking like trying to look like your face?
From what I'm reading, Travis, apparently you don't come nothing if you're concerned with the way your vagina looks. I've been doing some reading today, and apparently one of the top reasons for women's inability to reach orgasm is sectorating. They are concerned with the way their anatomy and or body looks in the act of sex.
So let me get this straight. Are you saying that more women could come easier if the parties agreed to leave the lights off?
I mean, I'm going to take it a step further and be like, if you know that this is your issue, you start blindfolding him. He will be all up for it. He'll be like, okay.
Oh, yeah, blindfold him. Yeah, blindfold him.
Yeah, right? Like, if that's the deal, girl, like,
well, Red Fox said...
Turn him around. I don't know. Like,
Red Fox said, he said, when the lights go out, nothing matters but the grip. Right? But it could be, there are other things that would matter. That's that's just for the quick joke. Welcome to the show, Sean. Sean's here. So we'll just continue. Sean will talk when he wants to and when he can. Sean don't come in gang busters.
I was surprised to read, according to Women's Magazine and a PubMed article, that only 10 to 40% of women reach orgasm regularly in partnered sex experiences.
So most of the time they do it solo?
Well, yes, there was a lot more indication that even women who have trouble reaching orgasm in a partnered situation tend to have more success in masturbation, which I was like, well, yeah, everybody knows their own stroke. And if you don't know your own stroke, you should know your own stroke. Like, that's like the first step to the good one.
No, that's the first step. Look, knowing your own stroke is the first step to self-love. Knowing your own stroke, right? You got to know your own stroke. Like, I've been jacking off so long. I'm all the way to the left hand now. I got the left. No, I'm strictly lefty.
Would you say that women are as apt to admit or fess up to masturbating?
Maybe to
Am I
other
right?
women, but not to guys. Look, guys will tell other guys, but some guys don't want to hear that shit. But way more guys, guys learn about sex from other guys. Women learn from books, or where do women learn from? Are there women? You know what I mean? I mean, I'm asking the question literally. I mean, for real. Like, do women learn?
I mean, you're right. We do research for sure. I think I passed out a blowjob at like 15 that was called decent, and the word
Okay.
decent fucking haunted me forever. So like, I was that 16-year-old at Barnes and Noble buying the Kama Sutra and like Friedman's Study of Sexuality and like all of this shit, trying to fucking like research my way to like fellatio Olympics. But I think I didn't actually learn until I was, say, like in my clinical hours of operation. You know, like I actually had to have dick and mouth to figure it out. The books didn't help as much.
So are you saying that you can't learn how to suck? Let me start over again. I can edit that. Are you saying, Lydia, that you can't learn how to suck a dick without a dick around?
In your mouth, at least. You know, it's it's like learning to drive a manual. You know, like
Right.
you can't be doing it unless you got your hand on the shifter.
There you go. But there you go. You got to put your hand on the stick.
And I would say that that's the same practice even with like masturbation or like female orgasm. Like the more you do it, the better you get. And studies are even indicating I finally have hope for my 50s. Because most women report in their 20s that only like 25% of the time do they reach orgasm. By their 30s, they're saying 40 to 50%. And by your 50s, 75%. I was like, God damn, that looks great. Like, so you mean that shit grays out, but it gets better? Cool.
And also, what it also
Cool.
means is the learning curve is a mother, right? Because if it takes for you to get into your 70s to figure out your own stuff, and you know what it is, maybe by the time a woman is in her 70s, she starts getting some of that testosterone, you know, where your mustache gets thicker, and you just don't give a fuck, right? You don't give a shit
Well, that
what
part
nobody thinks.
actually happens. It's not that you get more testosterone; it's that you lose your estrogen.
Yes.
And so your testosterone and estrogen levels start to reach a similar wave. And the first drop is in your 30s. And oh, damn, did I feel it. Like, everybody told me it was going to be like that. They were like, oh, you sweet little 23-year-old, you just wait until you're in your 30s. You're going to be hungry, right? And I was like, what do
Hungry
you
for
mean? I have
dick? Is
sex
that what
all
you
the
mean?
time. I like
Hungry for
sex.
sex
Sex
or
is great.
hungry for what?
Oh, yeah. Hungry for dick, right? Like, that was... And I just couldn't believe that I was going to be worse than in my teens or my 20s. Like, I was in my 20s. So,
right.
But I remember this kind of month, I think it took, where I just, like, woke up every day and I was like, you know what would be great today? Some dick. You know? It was no longer just like this momentary passing thought throughout the day, like chocolate or video games. It wasn't like, hey, dick. It was purposeful. It was every morning. I was waking up and I was like, hey, I wonder who's jogging Green Lake right now. I could sit and smoke from the street and watch him.
So is that because you spent a time being sheltered and then you maybe I'm making an analogy to basketball. Like Michael Jordan said that it took like 7 years to get to the championship. Like, you know, he had to get past Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and all of them, Detroit, you know, Isaiah. But he said once he learned how to win, right? So, like, was there a time when you figured out that guys were easier than you thought previously?
Easier for what would be the next
Easier
question.
to get them to do what you wanted them to do.
Oh, well, I mean, yes, life just taught me that. I grew up around women. Women are difficult. And I was bisexual, and I had quite a few relationships when I was younger with women, and it was obvious that in relationships with women, there was just going to be a lot more talking. And with men, there's kind of an unfair advantage into having serious talks. Like, if I want to avoid having a serious talk with my boyfriend, I just, like, my blouse starts falling off miraculously, and I just can't keep it on. You know,
Is
dudes don't really have that. Like, they can't just be giving you a peek at their boxers for you to, like, lose track of your argument. Like, you already know what you're about to say. It doesn't matter if he's naked as fuck.
right. If I'm
Uh,
irritated with you, and all of a sudden the areola makes its way through the
yeah, you might be irritated with me, but you ain't irritated with my titties.
no,
Like,
right.
that's
If my dick is like,
I
hey,
figured that out
we ain't in
young.
this, we ain't in this. It's my time. You can be mad
Yeah.
tomorrow breakfast, motherfucker. Bring that shit back up if you remember it. If I let you remember it.
And because I'm twatty of a personality, I've dated several a man that has, like, exclaimed something to the effect of, like, I would like to, like, choke you and fuck you at the same time, but neither of those two things are relatable. Right? Like, they didn't want to, like, choke me. They wanted to, like, they hated me. They hated me as a human, but they still wanted to fuck me. So realizing that men don't really have to like you to fuck you was the first thing that was like, oh, well, that makes things really easy.
Right. You don't have to mix. Oh, you're right. Because then you don't have to waste any time trying to get them to like you.
Yep,
Right.
not even a little bit.
So how
No, and
many
in fact,
women
I've found
waste
some of the
time?
best sex is from men that don't like me. You know.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Damn. That's deep. Sean's over there taking notes silently. No,
Well, like, I had this coworker for years that we had, like, such an adversarial relationship up
did,
until we started fucking.
did you
I
say
mean,
toe
like,
worker?
we just hated each other, and we would argue in meetings, and, like, he was so detestable as a human. He was just this white wigger, like, but also listened to Limp Bizkit type of weed grower that I just can't stand.
Mm.
But for some reason, the sex was great. I just had to ignore the whole time that he was who he was. Um,
You are the
but again, I'm not one
commenter.
for conversating, so
You're not me during the sex.
yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah. No, you.
I don't.
No.
That's not talking time. If you need to use your mouth, I have other options.
Hello.
Um,
This is Twat Talk Tuesday, and that's her HoeNess on Your Fault for Watching, and Your Fault for Listening, and the Your Fault for Watching network of shows. Twat Talk. Let's get twatty. Right? Let's get twatty. Okay, let's get twattier. So let's go back. So guys don't know that a lot of times a woman says no is just because she don't want you looking at her, or don't want to be thinking about you looking at her, or can't stop thinking about you looking at her.
well, she has real concerns with the way she looks in that minute. I mean, which is, like, the sad but true remark. Like, every woman wants to be told if she's getting down that she's pretty. Like, if you just keep telling her she's pretty, like, that's sploosh, sploosh. Like, why do you think all the rom-coms, like, Leonardo DiCaprio comes up to the woman, palms on both sides of her face, looks deeply in her eyes, and says, "You're beautiful," right? And every woman in the audience is like, "Sploosh," because sex is more about us than it is about you guys. Surprise, surprise.
Wow.
Which is also funny because I've watched myself have sex before, and even my partners look ridiculous. Like, unless you get paid for a living to have sex on film, like, there's going to be awkward moments of you having sex. Like, nobody's O-face is aesthetic.
You're right. Basically, one of the most, there are a lot of phrases and that are true and not true, or kind of true. But one of the most true phrases ever is bumping uglies. Bumping uglies is so good on so many levels. Because people, when having sex, a lot of times make faces maybe that's, oh, wait a minute, Lydia. Maybe that's the reason why fucking somebody you don't like works. Because
Yeah, you already hate that face. You
yeah,
already
you
hate
already
that
hate that
face.
face. So when they make that ugly face, yeah, right there, yeah, make that fucking face you be making in the fucking. So, but also, a lot of times, people in like a work situation will pretend not to like somebody they want to fuck, so nobody at work gets a sniff that they're fucking.
In my situation, we got more volatile in some respects because we were fucking, but that was more to do with the fact that he was a slimy bastard and I was fucking a slimy bastard. So that created problems, you know? And I do not advise fucking people at work. It makes things super complicated for you to do your job, and compartmentalization is our friend. But it just went to serve for me at the time where I was like, this is a despicable human. Why do I keep fucking them? And at one point, I even told him, I was like, man, I only hit you up when I'm like 3 steps up from suicide. So don't think too much of yourself.
That's
And
funny.
he, he still hits me up. Cool.
So that's very interesting. But that actually makes it safe for him, right? If I'm fucking somebody I know don't like me, there's no chance of them wanting to make the relationship go further because they don't want to be doing this shit in the first place. you know, uh,
He
that's
was so opposite from like the dude that I had been madly in love with that it was pretty perfect. Like I walked out of that breakup just brokenhearted and like 26. Uh, and at the time, like I had the old adage, the best way to get over one dick is to get on another. I don't subscribe to that anymore, but at the time it seemed totally irrational. Like, well, then you just go fuck somebody that there's no way you could possibly ever fall in love with. And I mean,
yeah, that's
he was a
what
good
they
pick for
call that,
that.
the rebound guy or something like that.
Yeah, but it's safety because you're not going to fall in love with them. Because that's the thing that you really don't want to do on a rebound is like rebound from being heartbroken into transferring all of that shit that you had with that last person into something else.
I think I was talking to some guys, some of the fellas before, and some of us had noticed that a few of our girlfriends ended up getting married to the next person right away.
You mean they found their forever home?
Um, no, well, maybe, but I think on one, it just was, she was feeling like she needed to get married anyway, and that just wasn't what I was going to do. And then maybe the next person, she just made sure that person was ready to get married off the top rather than springing it
Right.
on me later once we were already into it, which makes things rough. Like if you got plans that you haven't informed your lover about, your partner about, the person you're doing stuff with, and you trying to wait for the right time to spring it on them, you're setting yourself up a little bit, I think. You know?
Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
It's all right.
I know.
That one's still too new to joke about. That one still hurts.
No, but I'm just saying in general. But no, what I mean in general, like, if you like are, like, okay, so like someone could be in a relationship and they are they're pushing the guy about getting, hey, hints about getting married, but really in her mind is having a baby, and she just wants to be married, having a baby. You know what I mean? Or and so that's a rough one to not know that. But then when a guy starts whispering or telling a woman all the things she might want to hear, and that smooth rap, as some people might call it, you know, uh,
Oh,
and
I've
when,
been a sucker for it lately. Oh, oh,
especially when
oh.
his plan is just to be in your pants,
Yeah.
right? If his plan
Yeah.
is just to be in your pants, um, and he's willing to say anything to get you there, I gotta have some type of empathy with the people who try to hold on to somebody who said those things that nobody else had said previously. You know what I mean? It's on the
I got empathy for him. I'm just not one of them. Like, as soon as I figure out that, like, I'm not on the same track with somebody and they've been fucking, like, blowing smoke up my ass, I'm out, you know? Also because, like, as much as, like, we all want that, like, passionate, grab you by the face, you're beautiful type of bullshit, the love I've experienced in life between other humans, like the most real shit that I've ever experienced was in moments of comfort and just being able to be the people that we are together. And that's
yeah.
just not romantic,
No, but
you know?
that's the love part though. Being there for somebody or being what somebody needs in that moment because you saw that need there and you just did it.
Yeah. And I mean, this last relationship I was in, I was so fucking cum drunk, and I've been doing all sorts of research about oxytocin and the female orgasm because apparently, like, I can't say that I'm one of those women that only like 10 to 40% of the time has an orgasm. Like, I'm pretty in charge of my orgasm. But I would say that it's rare to find a partner that it's like every single time, like clockwork, multiple fucking times, like sends you to the moon. Like, that's not common,
But
right?
doesn't life? But I mean, like, okay, for instance, if you just got out of traffic and then you throw your legs up in the air, I mean, uh, with the sun, um, you know, glistening,
I,
yeah.
no, I don't. Where are you going with this one, Travis?
Well, what I'm saying is, okay, so maybe because of your ability to compartmentalize, and I don't like that word, but let's say your ability to focus fully on whatever you're doing in that moment. Okay, let's call it that. Okay, 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 and to take all of your mental resources and hone in on that because you told us before, you had to relearn how to walk. That takes an extraordinary amount of focus, right?
I've relearned to walk 3 times in my life.
Right. Relearning to walk. I can't even imagine that. But somebody with knee problems, somebody with other ailments, somebody else having that. I guess that would be a question to find out. People who had to get over a major physical ailment, are they able to come better? You know what I mean? Or because they had to, cause, other people just walk around and just get up and walk and do their thing and don't really think about the fact that their mind is making their legs move. You know what I mean? Their body's doing something that is actually it's a task. And for you to have to relearn how to do that um as a thinking an adult would, I'm guessing, take an extraordinary amount of intensity, focus, concentration. You know what I mean? And
Well,
self.
unfortunately, none of those things are indicative of an orgasm, though. Like, in fact, studies show that most women need to go through things that are way beyond just like foreplay. Like, it's a thing where like women setting the mood for themselves and clearing their mind of the day and of their responsibilities and all this shit is like a ritualistic practice before getting down helps ensure them the ability of orgasm. For me, I've paid good money in therapy, and I have shucked a lot of corn to be able to get to the point that I'm at. I can have sex like a dude has sex though. Like I can come when I'm mad. I can come when I'm bored. I can come when I'm sad. You know, like it just. But a lot of women are not like that.
Do you think it would
And
help them to, maybe, go into a quiet place, go into another room and close the door, sit and close their eyes
yeah,
and
do your bubble bath shit, like, because I mean, here's the deal, like, women spend a lot of time like getting dressed up and like putting their hair pretty and because I'm a broho, I know this. Most dudes, like, if you were to ask them about their girl, like, what's your favorite look on your girl, they'll tell you shit like fresh out the shower, wearing a sweatshirt
Yep.
after working out,
yeah, sweatpants,
like shit like
sweatpants.
that. Like, most dudes in the real will tell you that shit, but women, we have it all fucked up. We're all like, I have to make myself look like a China motherfucking doll and, like, stuff everything in some lycra so that I look like a sausage. You know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Well, think about this. If everybody's using the same makeup, um, your uniqueness would come in using less or none at all, I would think. I mean, just off the top of my head, just trying to go, you know what I mean? Just trying to go with that.
I'm just kind of amplifying that bubble bath thing. Like, get you in a bubble bath and, like, ask for some massages, like getting the body into a place of comfort, because physical pain is up there on the list too of why women are unable to reach orgasm.
Physical pain.
So
What do you mean?
if you have already chronic pain conditions and things like that, that could very well be the reason that you can't reach orgasm. And that sounds fucking horrible, because to me, orgasm relieves pain. Orgasm is this thing that, like, I can be having a super high pain day, but, like, a great orgasm, that'll get me through lunch, you know?
Yeah, no, I had a friend like that. She said that like, we weren't a couple, we were just cool. And she was like, "Hey, um basically she said, "Hey, I got a migraine, will you bring some dick?" You know what I mean? Or
Yep.
basically, yeah. And I was like, "Oh, okay, to the bat poles." You know what I mean?
And that's because
It was a surprise
it's an
request.
actual, sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. It was a surprise request. No, you were right on point. It was an actual, is what you said.
It was an actual biochemical thing, though, that's happening in your brain. Oxytocin, as the more I research it, which is the chemical that females receive after orgasm, is largely responsible for bonding, right? That's also a thing for women, is that women need to have a certain element of trust with a dude. But apparently, the advice is that you fuck him first and let him make you come real hard, and you're more apt to trust him. Which, as we were just discussing, a dude that says all the right things to get you in bed and that's all he wants, like, that's some sly shit. Because, like, eventually I'm going to be fucking hooked up to you like motherfucking codeine, and I'm going to be slurping the sizzo and just, like, fucking being dumb for months at a time because my oxytocin levels are off the chart. Which,
Right.
They're trying to synthesize oxytocin in other countries right now, and I found it interesting that the University of Zurich scientists asked 178 male college students to play an investment game with a partner they'd never met. Half of the students used an oxytocin nasal spray, not yet available in the United States, beforehand. Half used a placebo. Those with the spray containing oxytocin were more than twice as likely to feel comfortable giving all of their money to their anonymous but legitimate partners.
Wow.
So that's what oxytocin does to dudes. Apparently, it makes y'all, like, be like, "Here's all my money."
That sounds like a movie right now. Right now, we need.
But what does it do to us? We just get stupid. We're just like, "You're charming," even though you're a total sleazebag and you drive a Barbie car. Like, you're a genius, you know?
So does this wait a minute? Okay, so
It's a
it makes guys
biochemical
give all their money
reaction to
away,
orgasm.
and it makes women orgasm, or it makes
No, it's the
women.
result of orgasm. Oxytocin is the chemical that women receive in their brains after orgasm.
And so if a guy
It's
receives
also the hormone that women receive in, like, huge loads right after childbirth. It gives you a resistance to pain. It makes you super happy, and it causes a warm, fuzzy, drunk sensation. It's definitely one of the best drugs in the world, and mixed with some, like, heavy adrenaline workout, like, hormones, like, you're floating pretty high. And legit, you are actually biochemically high. You are high off of chemicals that your body creates for you. So enough of this, like, we're addicted to men's cum on some biochemical level, which there is some evidence about. We're actually more apt to be addicted to the oxytocin responsive orgasm with an individual.
Wow, that's hot.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so
that's
in
why, gentlemen, you fuck her like you're never gonna get to fuck her again the first time.
and that does not mean doing the
bonds.
rabbit. That don't mean doing the rabbit. That don't mean just trying to beat it up. Okay, whatever that means. Okay, that means if you take the time to if you take the time to try to figure out how to make her feel what she needs and wants to feel, you might not be able to do it the first time or second time, but if you got a chance and you really are trying to figure it out and you do have some previously acquired skills, it's possible. I guess the only hint I could give guys is the best compliment sexually I've ever received was by a woman said to me, damn, you eat pussy like a bitch. That's a compliment and a half right there. I thought that's a compliment. That's a big compliment. And so I guess well, I think it's being intuitive and like some people try to like focus in on the moans, but no, there's like internal things you can feel and hear with your soul when you're connected with somebody that you're like, I think I just found it. She didn't even tell me I found it, but I think I just found it. You know what I mean? Like she said right there, and it's right there, but it's right like that. You know what I mean? It's going past the right there to figure out, okay, what really can make this the most pleasurable for my partner at this particular time. And if both people are thinking about that, or if it really they don't got to be doing this shit at the same time, one at a time, you know what I mean? Whatever, you know what I mean? And fellas, since this is Twat Talk Tuesday Live, remember this. If you can get outside of your natural masculine selfishness to just empty your balls, look, because she can have more than one, get her one first. You know what I mean? Worry about you later. You know, and then maybe if you try it, maybe something will turn out better than previously, or maybe just add it to your regular that you're already doing pretty good.
I've heard some women say things to their partners like, it doesn't matter if I do this time, you can just do what you're gonna do. And like, I can't imagine having that type of life where like your girl just lays over and she's like, well, you can just get it done real fast and I'll just be here. Like, that doesn't sound enjoyable to me, but I don't have a dick, so I don't know.
Well, maybe she knows she got shit to do.
I feel like
you know what I mean?
enthusiasm is warranted in sexual behavior. Like, I wanna see you happy about it, right? Like, I named my dog Boyfriend for a reason. He wags his tail. He's always happy to fucking see me. You know,
right?
I want some spirit. But I would say that that's a common complaint for most of my duders about their women. It's just that they wish that the women would be more enthusiastic. But I feel like that's because misled, that men still think it's all about their dicks. Like, it's about how big their dick is, it's about how small their dick is, it's about how hard their dick is, it's about the shape of their dick. I mean, it is, and it is, and it is, and it is, but it isn't.
Right. What I'm saying though is okay, so some guys you just be asking it at the wrong time, I guess. You know what I mean? Like Tony said that his woman told him one time that, hey, it ain't that I don't want to have sex. She said, I just want the bills to be paid.
Oh.
Right? So she was just in a place where she couldn't get comfortable, still having to worry about stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I get it.
That's fair.
I mean, this goes
maybe.
back to my whole math of like, you make your own money, you can kick them out of bed for eating cookies, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
damn.
I pay my own bills. You can just, bring the dick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And then that, of course, brings about its own problems, which is that at that point you're assessing someone by what they are bringing to the table, on like a personality level, on like a sexual skill level, on like an emotional understanding level. So I like to take the math equations out of the fucking and the dating by making my own money. It's the thing. That's my Twatty McTwatterson advice for all you ladies. You make your own money.
Right.
And tell them to eat pussy. I can't handle how often I hear from dudes just about, oh, well, I don't really eat pussy.
Well, they're same thing the other direction. Right?
Yeah, no, I don't understand that shit neither. I'm always like, I don't really get the whole inclination to not want to do the most that you can for your partner's experience.
Right. I mean,
so,
like
in
we're here
cases
already.
of other people where they're like, I don't like to get head. Okay, all right, whatever. But if your partner likes to receive something, and your apprehension is just on the giving, like, why is that an apprehension? Would be my first question, and that gets into a whole bunch of
religion makes people self-conscious about doing anything sexually. So one of the tricks that religion uses is to guilt you up for what makes you feel good. So much so that aren't there some religions where people are like the only skin to skin touch is like through a hole in the sheets?
I mean, that's some ancient Judaic shit right there. That's
Really?
The fucking
okay, I didn't know where it was.
But
I just heard somebody say that
there's
before.
a lot of vagina shame in almost all ancient religions. The thoughts of it being unclean, which is still reticent today. Sorry, smoking that joint. There's women out there that still have like a lot of thoughts about like they wouldn't let their man go down on them because like they think pussy is disgusting. And I would challenge women to find ways of loving their own vagina, like all parts of it, the smell, the taste, the look, like, gloss her up, take some pretty pictures of her, get real used to her, look her square in the eye,
You gotta love your stuff, 'cause it's yours. When it snows or pours. I don't know. You gotta love your stuff.
Like, you walk around all the time with your human mouth. We all got a human mouth, and the human mouth is the most, like, disgusting part of the fucking human body. So if you willing to give your man a big old smackaroos on the lips, and you willing to, like, put your tongue in his mouth and let his tongue be in your mouth, you can let his tongue be in your vagina. Like, your vagina has less germs in it than your mouth does. Which is cool. Like, women create enzymes down there that, like, kill bacteria and shit. Also meant to kill sperm. Built-in superpower right there.
Yeah.
But human mouths are gross, and we don't tend to shame human mouths the same way that we do vaginas. There's a lot of thought that, like, women confuse just this whole abstract idea of their anuses and their vaginas. Like, there's just this theory that women confuse these matters because they are so close together. The idea of waste excrement and then the idea of sexual pleasure. Like, they can't, because those things are so close together, which would be God's fault. It's poor design.
I know. What's wrong with her? Tony's joining us right now. All right there, Tony, coming in with sound effects. What was that, a tambourine? Was it a cymbal? What was it? All right. This is your fault for watching. This is your fault for listening live. It's Tuesday night Twat Talk Live with HoeNess. And I'm the big funny Travis Simmons. And here comes Tony Zamboni.
What's going on, people?
It's Tuesday night Twat Talk.
All right.
Tuesday night.
So what y'all talking about?
Let's get twatty. All right. So
Tony, do you know what twat means?
Excuse me?
I'm gonna smoke a cigarette real quick and right back.
I was gonna ask, do you know what twat means? Like, is it something you've ever used in your vocabulary before?
I am not a little child. I was born when twat was invented.
Well, I mean, it wasn't so much like that. It was more like, do you have a little bit of cockney in you, where like Europeans call each other twats all the time. And I hear it's a Boston thing too. I hear Bostonites like to call people twat.
Twat.
But
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a word that's specifically used too commonly out here. Right.
I'm old school. I've heard them all. What are you talking about?
Well,
politically correct.
Travis had to ask me what twat means, and I was like, I just Google dictionary that shit for him. I was like, oh, it means these two things. And my thing is the obnoxious angle of it. Twat can mean stupid or obnoxious. I can be very obnoxious, especially when I'm talking about my genitals, which is also the meaning for twat is the female genitals. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thus the creation of Twat Talk.
Yeah.
And it's how you men get grouped into the conversation because you can be stupid or obnoxious, and that's how you end up twat talking.
See, I see the dual definition on that one now. No, yeah. No, I respect the twat.
Twat. We've been discussing the importance of female orgasm, how many women do or don't come. I've read some interesting statistics lately that talk about only 10 to 40% of women in a study reached regular orgasm in partnered sexual situations.
Oh.
Yeah. And through personal conversation that I've had with other women just over the years, over a lot of liquor, a lot of fruity drinks, I've been amazed at how many women have confessed to me that they think they might have had an orgasm.
Oh, my God. Wow.
Well, think about it. If a guy comes, something comes out. Maybe the second time, right? So you came, right? Like sometimes you could get so excited and be so sensitive early on that you could come. Just thinking about doing something, or just somebody rubbing on your stuff through, your bud fly. Okay, but for a woman, you have to take over from here, Lydia, and explain, well, the first time you came, did you know you came?
Yes.
Self-induced?
Yeah. No. Okay. See, I have one of those great stories of where I was super young. I won't even say how young, because then it makes it uncomfortable.
No need.
But I'd been with my sweetheart for quite a while, and we got into a fight. And I decided to take out of town, and as I'm leaving, I looked at him and was like, I have faked it every time. And I remember his face. It was just crushing, right?
Ooh.
I got back from my weekend adventure, and, like, what a trooper of a dude. I'm just gonna put this out there. Like, this is absolutely how any dude should respond to this, and I'm glad it happened like this. Like, I was no more than 2 feet in the door, and I was up over a shoulder and being taken to a bed, right? And we were gonna do it until it happened. And it became a commitment to ensure that it happened. And it sure as fuck did, right? So I was really lucky that I had a partner at that time that was like, didn't get super fucked up and like, I don't know, get reactive and leave my ass or something for that. Like, he was like, oh, well, then I guess we have some work to do, which was cool. But I don't know that all women get that opportunity or relationship early enough on in life before they just learn that behavior, that they should be faking it or they should be expressing some sort of pleasure that in fact maybe they're not sure that they're receiving.
Did you say orally?
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 Can I, a question then? Question.
Yeah.
Question. Was that achieved by oral or penetration?
It was achieved by oral.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
I mean,
like now at 35, I'm like, well, duh.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
But you learn as you get older. Like, now I walk around with sweatshirts and hat and swag that says Cunnilingus saves lives. You know why? Because nobody gets pregnant when I come. Nobody gets fucking pregnant when I come.
Yeah.
So how about I come a bunch and we don't so much treat your orgasm as like the end all be all, but more as like you sending legions of little invaders at me that I'm supposed to dodge.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we're simple. We're simple. I mean,
put that shit in the carpet.
You know, it's all about how much time you spend in the situation and who the focus is on. You know what I mean?
Well, far too often the focus has just been on, sometimes I get upset with the all men talk with feminism in general, but when you really think about it, how much time throughout history has been spent on the woman's side of pleasure during sex? I mean, do guys ever in the locker room talk about making her come, or are they talking about emptying their own balls most of the time? Right? I mean, I've heard guys talk about making a woman feel good, but in high school, I don't remember guys, talking clearly about, hey, look, you got to make the woman come. You're just trying to, get in there. You know what I mean? Because this is one of those things where we should have a segment on Twat Talk called like demystified. You know what I mean? Let's because one of the things earlier in the conversation I wish more people were here for, and I want people in the comment section here on Your Fault for Watching to, if they have stories that they want us to talk about on Twat Talk, or stories that add to this particular conversation, to do it. Tony, one of the things that Lydia said to me was one of the reasons a lot of women don't come is because they're worried about what their partner is looking at and seeing.
Oh my, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's a subconsciousness of it all.
No, it's conscious.
I mean, but still.
But you mean they can't get into their subconscious and get comfortable, is what you're maybe saying.
Right, exactly. Like, you can't multitask when you're having sex. Your mind has to be on achieving an outcome. See, men, we don't go in a store and shop. We go in the store to buy. So that's where men are more directive.
Well, then men maybe need to take then men need to hunt for the woman's orgasm like they'd be hunting for whatever they'd be hunting for, right? You know what I mean? That should be the hunt. Or
that too.
Right? Like
most men take direction really well. But unfortunately, women aren't taught that. And if there's a few bad experiences of where like you asked for something and your dude shames you or like whatever, that can definitely make you hesitate to ask for what you want later. But I find that most men that are in unsatisfactory sexual situations, like they have no more idea about what their partner's like shtick is than they do about current affairs in Libya. You know, like.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think most men appreciate like the play of instruction, and I think for women that are looking to make their experience better, just taking that directive of like taking charge and asking for what you want could like literally, one, get you an actual orgasm, and two, be that kind of spice that you're looking for. Because most dudes are pretty like, oh, you want to be in charge right now? Great, I'll just put my
man,
lips
we
up.
love it.
Thank you. Hello, please.
We love it. Yes,
Like,
please.
I'll just
Please,
drink
please.
this beer,
But
smoke this joint.
don't tell
You do you, boo. You do you.
Yeah. Well, look, everybody got to get.
this. I'm going to tell you. Hold on.
Go ahead, Tony.
I'm going to tell you this. Real simple. We prefer you tell us what to do than to tell us to talk dirty to us. Man, we trying to stop from exploding all over you, and you trying to tell us to talk dirty. Tell us to do what to do.
Well, maybe somebody needs that talking dirty. You know, everybody needs what they need, right? Like, so,
Yeah.
men
I don't know. Either you're good at dirty talk or you're not. Like, there's just like, don't, if you're not feeling it, like there's no like learning to dirty talk, by the way.
You're right. That is a skill. A lot of things are a skill. Like we talked about on the previous Twat Talk about when men and boys try to copy what they see in the porn, not knowing, you know, these are professionals, right? And the same thing, you can't be dirty talking. Tana has a joke he used to do about 20 years ago about how he didn't understand how important spelling was during sexting. Right? He said that the woman she wrote to him, you know, I want you to stick it down my throat. He's like, oh yeah, you want me to suck on your bobs? You know,
that's hilarious.
And so, but what it is this. So there's like a whole bunch of things that kind of meet. I'm trying to find the right words, but it's not like fulcrum. It's not. It's like a bunch of things going to equaling one bad or positive outcome, right? So when you have religious shame, and then you have shyness, lack of assertiveness, self-consciousness, and then they all meet with the woman not coming and the guy not knowing what to do, right? So the guys have some type of ego of, you know, not needing to be told what to do, where really, fellas, if you just let the woman let you know what she wants, then figure. So it's kind of like you got to learn, you know, people always say this in general about lots of things. You got to learn the rules before you can break them, right? Right. You need to really figure out what she likes before you begin to try to figure out what new you could bring to the table. Figure out what she likes first, like, right? So like if we're going out to if I'm inviting you over to eat to make you dinner, Lydia,
right.
I gotta know what type of foods you like, right? Do you, right? So are you vegan? Are you meat? Are you no chicken? Are you no fish? Welcome to the show, Carmela. This is a really good this is really I want to just forget what I was saying right there. Let's just go back to what we were saying previously. Carmela, we're talking about how hard it is for some women to orgasm and how difficult it is for some women to explain what they want or need, and difficult for men to listen or ask or learn. and how great it is sometimes when a man will just take directions. This is, and go ahead, Lydia. Inform Carmela what you want to ask her, because I'm sure you were missing a female voice on the show.
Yeah, I was like, oh, twat talk again with all sausages. All right. What's up, Carmela?
So go ahead, Lydia. Ask Carmela something. Me and Tony will chill and let y'all talk about. We'll let y'all get twatty. Well, not
yeah.
let.
So, I just said this to Tony, was that I have found in like bar interactions or in like drunk girl sessions that a lot of women have confessed to me that they think they've had orgasms, or that they don't really have orgasms that often, or orgasms aren't really that important to them. I've heard a lot of that talk as being a woman, and I sometimes kind of want to write a PSA to like all of them anonymously and be like, you guys are a larger group than you all think you are. Has that been your experience at all with other women?
Yeah, I think when you get them to a point that they feel comfortable that they can be candid like that, then yes. Other times I've spoken with women that will, it's almost like talking to a dude where they're like, oh yeah, the sex is so great, I come all the time, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I think with you getting down to like the realness of it, it's a lot more common than some women want to admit that, we don't orgasm all the time. And I think what a lot of people also think is like, oh, when you feel you're done, then you feel you came, and that's not it. It's not even biologically it.
Carmela, one of the questions that we asked, Lydia answered, we asked before was, first time orgasm, was it with somebody else or yourself?
The first time was with myself. But the first time I had one with a person, it was definitely a very different experience. I kind of was embarrassed about it.
Somebody cooked?
Yeah, the first time I cooked. Listen, Carlos here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, but stop. But no, the first time I orgasmed with somebody, I like this felt very, very different than when I orgasmed by myself, and I actually felt embarrassed by it.
Yeah. I would say that the places that like you're willing to push yourself at first are definitely different than somebody else like figuring out how to push you to that point.
Totally.
That's very true. Richard Pryor said, he said at some point he thought pussy could never be as good as his hand.
Right.
And vice versa, right? I mean, women have to think that, right? I would think that how could anybody who didn't care about you immensely know you close to as much as you know you?
Yeah. Pleasure yourself more than anyone else.
Before y'all got on the line, I said to Lydia, I mean, like, I got so good with myself, nowadays it's only the left hand.
You shoot with the left hand. That's funny.
No, but it's interesting. And I actually was fortunate. I would say I was fortunate that the person that I was with, I actually was able to talk about it right after, because he was somebody that actually listened. But after that, the few people I was with after that, not too long after that, I felt like I had to fake it, because I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel like how it felt with him. and it's like, oh, okay, like I wasn't totally into it, and I felt like I had to fake stuff, and it took a while before other than with myself, it took a while for me to have an orgasm with another person. Because I don't know if it was me trying to chase the feelings of when I would have them with this person, or if it was like it was just not the right people. But I know that
people.
well, the people.
No.
Well, yes. No,
No.
but you know, but I'm saying, like, if I did get off and I did orgasm with another person, it was usually manual, like I was assisting.
How about that?
Oh, right. So it was
go.
just the difference between like you found clitoral stimulation, and for some reason dudes are slow to that one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, got it.
Right, because we've been taught, it's what's inside the hole. You're right. There's something, you got to get in
dig
there.
it out. Yeah, dig it all out.
On your fault for watching Twat Talk Tuesday, digging it out.
Digging it out.
Digging it out on your fault for watching. Your fault. Twat Talk Tuesday, late night.
Well, I was one person I was with, and he was not very experienced, and he talked a big game, and then when the time came, I think he was watching cartoons, to be fair, and we're not talking about hentai. I think he was watching like Bugs Bunny and thinking like, oh, you're supposed to like just ram it like a pile driver or something. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I think a lot of guys are either it's like growing up, like it's a locker room talk or whatever, that they come up, or watching porn even, like they think that there's a certain way that you're supposed to have sex. And as long as they get off, they're fine. But what a lot of men don't realize is that they can ejaculate without orgasming, and they seem to put the two together. So if they come, they I swear I think some guys even like, act it up. And it's like, it's not all that.
Well, let me ask this question, Carmela and Lydia. How many times did you have sex before you were able to confidently verbalize to your partner, in that act, what you needed or wanted, or what was going to work for you?
Good question.
I have levels to that. There's appropriate levels, I think, as a woman where shit like that starts to happen. Like I distinctly remember the moment where I realized that I didn't have to have sex if it wasn't going to be good for me. Like, I think as women, we're just kind of taught, like, if you love this person and you're with them, like, you have sex with them, even if you don't necessarily enjoy it. Having that moment where I'm like, do dudes fuck if they don't like it? Well, dudes normally always like it. Why do you think dudes normally always like it? Because they come. Oh, I should be more like a dude then. I should just always come, and I should not have sex unless I want to. So unless I'm going to come, I probably don't want to have sex. But that took a lot of experience. I think I was like 26, 27 before I was able to like fully get that.
So you're saying that at 26, 27, you became an orgasm snob?
Yeah.
Well, at 25, you get it. The years between 25 and 30 is what you do with what you get.
I was just finishing up my fishnet phase in life at that current time, and it was liberating.
Fishnet, black.
I think for me it was I think like I was 20, 21 when the person I actually ended up had my first orgasm with, like, he actually was asking me questions about what I liked. And this is well after we had already started having sex, but he started asking me questions, and I'm like, why are you asking me that? like, do I like to be touched? I'm like, we've been doing this for a while, but it's like he kind of changed like how our relationship was. It wasn't just like a sex thing. It was actually becoming like like some romantic thing, and he wanted to know what pleasured me and whatnot. And I was not comfortable vocalizing it at all at that point. But I think the longer we were together and the more questions he asked, the more comfortable I became.
Aha.
And
Aha.
but I will say that, like, you know, after him, it took a bit. I dated somebody for like 2.5 years, and there was a lot of learning in that, because he was not experienced at all, and he was trying to be very scientific with things and trying to like book biology and stuff, and that's where those conversations became more comfortable than actually like the feelings that would be involved. So I think it comes down to like being comfortable with the person and being comfortable with yourself, because I was in an abusive relationship even after that one, and I was not comfortable with myself, and it was like he wanted sex, and you know, if he was angry, sex made him feel better, so we just had sex, and I would have to fake shit because if I didn't orgasm, he would take it as an insult. So I became comfortable with being this like submissive person who just acquiesced and was just trying to be whatever until I just got fed up with it.
So there you go. There's something right there. Faking it until you get fed up on your fault for watching, right? I mean, right? You're faking it to keep the peace, right? Isn't that what you're saying, right?
Well, and that's how it was. We have an argument, and you know, he would cry, and okay,
he would
so
cry
hot when they cry.
Would he cry
so
during
fucking
sex?
hot
You
when
know
they
what?
cry.
Is he crying during
we would
sex or outside of sex?
Outside of sex.
Oh,
we would have an argument. You know, he was the kind of guy who would break up with me so he could have sex with somebody else. And then I got to the point like, I don't care. If you just want to break up with me to have sex with somebody, go ahead. And he'd get upset and he'd start crying. Well, I don't really want to do that. And for me, just like, you know what? Shut up. And it was up to the point like, let's just fuck, because I can't spend my time arguing. I don't know why, you know, I was just like, I don't know why I'm in this, why I'm allowing this, but I'm just allowing because I just don't want to deal with the bullshit. And then I got fed up, and I finally was like, you know, my friends were like, you need to leave this guy alone. And I was like, you know what, I can't do it anymore. And I cheated on him, and I felt good about it. I cheated on him like more than once, and I felt good about that. I felt empowered in a way, that I could give up sex to somebody else and not give a fuck about this guy. And I think what really settled it, 6 months after we broke up, he contacted me because I was still friends with his brother. And he contacted me, and he started talking about, oh, we had really good sex and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, we didn't.
That's cold.
And I was just, and you know,
That's
and
funny.
it was just like, and he was like talking about, so he was, we were really good together. We had really good. I'm like, no, we weren't good together, and we didn't have really good sex. And by the way, I cheated on you, so it doesn't matter anymore. But I felt like some sort of empowerment. But while I was with this guy, I was just like, I didn't really care about like how I felt about myself. I didn't care really about anything. I just wanted him to stop being mad at stupid shit.
Well, what was the good parts of the relationship, and did y'all live together?
No, we did not live together, thank goodness.
If you had lived together, would it have ended sooner?
Oh my God, it would have ended. I probably would have thrown him out the window, to be perfectly honest. It was
crying, and he was falling and crying at the same time.
You couldn't have did the pandemic with this dude. Basically, what you said.
Yeah, no, I could not. I think it was good in the beginning before I got to really know him. You know, when you're in that, like, when you're dating somebody, you're in that early phase, and you know, it for a lot of people, dating is an act. You know, or like, you know, you're going into a job interview and you lie about what's on your resume, and that's what I got in the beginning. So all the attention and stuff, you know, like he would call me first thing in the morning, you know, hi, beautiful, I just want to make sure you have a great day today, blah, blah, blah. And then he called me before he'd go to bed, you know, it was like a lot of that kind of stuff. And I ate that up. But as like, you know, the chinks in the armor start to get exposed and they get deeper and you start seeing and hearing all kinds of shit. It was crazy. I think like I was talking to his brother and I was like, yo, I don't know what's going on with him. Something is not right. He's like, yeah, I don't know what's going on with him either. And he was telling me that, you know, how dude was saying off the wall things. He's like, you know, he met some girl somewhere, and he's like, you know, if you want to hook up with Carmela, it's okay, because then I can go hook up with whatever. And when his brother told me that way after the relationship ended, I was like, he's a mess. I don't know why he shouldn't be dating anybody. So yeah, that was a really messed up thing.
Everybody's thoughts on everything are as diversified as snowflakes, right? So you don't know where this person got their ideas about sex from or relationships. It could have been from the Brady Bunch, right? It could have been from True Blood. You know what I'm saying? It could have been from Friends. It could have been from Sex and the City. You know, it could have been from the bad relationships in their home next door. You know, somebody they saw on the way to and from school or any other thing in a book that they read. You know what I mean? In a video game. Okay, so I mean, people really have to, both sides, this is what I'm hearing, be a little bit more open about what they want and what they don't want, maybe, or just stick with what you want. You know what I mean? And just, you know, and you know, the person should maybe try to figure out what a person wants first, before they start, you know, adding the bells and the whistles and wearing hats and shit. But also, from what I heard when it was just Lydia and I on the phone, is that one of the most important things for a woman is to love her own stuff. Right? If you love your own stuff, you won't let a motherfucker waste your time on many levels. Where are you, her HoeNess?
Oh, I'm right here. I was just giving airtime. I was listening to Carmela. That was deep shit right there.
It wasn't it though?
I wasn't expecting to go there, but I will add that I find that most abusive men, most of them are actually really bad in bed. It just goes along with their narcissism that most of the time the only thing they give a fuck about is like them coming. So I fucked my neighbor and he was like this young, beautiful kid. 25, fucking
blessed,
you know,
blessed that poor child, huh?
See, a guy being called corn-fed and a woman being called corn-fed ain't the same thing. No. Corn-fed. Women don't like that. So he was corn-fed, her HoeNess?
He was. And he just, it was the height of the pandemic. You know, we're all in quarantine. We got to lock the fuck down. And this boy just shows up at my back door. I have just, like, been through a breakup with a musician, you know. And I thought God was sending me miracles, you know. But he was younger than me, and he was really volatile, and he was hyper emotional, and he would pull this whole, like, get angry at me thing over stupid shit and pull weird jealousy stuff. and then have this big old tantrum and storm off. And like, I don't have to chase you because I'm a grown woman and I don't chase men.
Well, that's
and
why you don't go out
Yeah.
with young men.
And that's why it didn't work out. It
Young
didn't
guys
last
do.
long. I moved him in real fast, and I got the temperature warning. Like, that shit was like red hot all the time. The sex was bad, and he didn't give head. And he would like pull this young boy shit with me, where he'd be like, "Oh, you're on the rag, so I guess it's dick sucking week." And I'm like, "Does that work on them younger girls still? Do they still give out sympathy head through the week? If you ain't
Sympathy head.
putting it
You heard
out
it first, right
right
here
now."
on Your Fault for Watching. Sympathy head. It's, you know what? It's Sympathy Head. It's Sympathy Head Wednesday.
And I was all like, "No, boy." Like, I stopped giving have to blowjobs years ago. I don't know what your problem is. Like, I put out head the way I get it. Like, you give head, I give head. That's the way it works. Other than I particularly don't prefer 69s because that means everybody has a nose in the asshole. Yeah. You know, I like that whole porn does a great job of this. He goes down, she goes down, then they fuck. Right? Like, this is the math equation that I tend to go towards. But this kid, he had like real pussy problems. He was like, "I don't like it. I only do it once in a while." And I'm like, you know, like Christmas spirit, like, what is it? And I would do nice, like, I would buy this kid so much liquor too, because I was like, maybe I just gotta get him sloppy drunk to eat the pussy, right? Like, maybe that's allowed, right? Like, we talk about consent with women, but nobody talks about making your boyfriend extra affectionate on a little bit of Everclear, you know? That was not the ticket. That didn't work out.
Everclear your coffee won't make you eat.
There's something to be said about guys that have problems with pussy, because there is a school of thought, and it's probably from Freud or some disciple of Freud, where men have it in their head almost like, and it's not as literal, but like that the vagina has teeth, and that if any part of them goes into the vagina will could bite off their dick, can bite off their mouth. I don't know, but there is like this psychological thing that there are men who are scared of pussy because they think it's gonna snatch something off of them.
Well, I will tell you.
Wait a minute. We got to stick on the teeth. No, Tony.
Finish up with the teeth.
Yeah, exactly. Is that what you're going to say? Probably, because I'm sitting here going, teeth. Because if there's teeth, why would you stick your dick in there? I mean, you don't like your.
Well, that's the fact. Well, some of them can't do it.
Okay, so is this religious fear again? Maybe, because I don't see where else that would come from other than some kind of crazy, you know, FX, Netflix, you know, triple MA, Pornhub, anime, right? You know, I went down to kiss her twat lips, and the pussy went.
Suck that sucker in, like
no, seriously,
like the cat on the. Like the cat on.
I mean, it'd be like your pussy's Freddy Krueger. I'm your girlfriend now.
But there was a folk tale, and it's actually connected to something biological. But there's a folk tale that the woman's vagina contains teeth, and therefore sexual intercourse may result in either emasculation or castration. It's called vagina dentata. But there's a medical condition called vaginal dermoid cyst, and for some reason, I guess people thought they look like teeth. And so I don't know if that has anything to do with chastity belts or, you know, kind of, you know, the result of that. But But there's the thing, like, if you touch the vagina, the vagina has teeth and can rip your dick off.
You know what? You know what? You know what? That particular wives' tale folklore was made up by a pirate who didn't want nobody fucking his wife while he was gone. Right? No. Hey, are you gonna miss your girl while you're out to sea? No, her pussy got teeth.
Right.
That is so horrific.
The Kraken.
Yeah,
I just got so many tattoo ideas. Like, so many.
You're right. You're right. Right.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get it? Right there.
What about that? What about the part
teeth,
where they think that apple?
Because I thought you were gonna say that you're gonna get like a warning sign, right in your your thigh crease. Beware, this pussy has teeth. Right, but no, you're gonna just get a tattoo of teeth inside your pussy lips.
Yeah.
I think it would be a cute little joke right outside the labia majora.
Make a big ass mouth.
With some cartoon looking like sharp teeth, like ma. I mean, from here on out, like, I don't even know if I'm not gonna be able to like chastise motherfuckers like upon insert, like nom. I'm making sound effects from here on out for sure.
Well, what you could start with would be a temporary tattoo.
I mean, how well is that really gonna like stay?
With the waterworks that come in,
right? And the heat and the moisture and the friction,
the driving and the chafing.
Yeah.
My pussy has teeth on Twat Talk Tuesday. This is your fault for watching. So one of the things that we have to do, you guys, is one of the ways that people cannot talk over people and people will know that somebody's finished is to just end it with a station identification when you get done talking. Right? This is your fault for watching. But no, hey, wait. Now, wait a second now. So have you heard a vagina having teeth, have you heard like that? What could possibly be in or come out of a dick hole? That would be equal to that in wives' tale lore.
Chirp, 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 chirp.
Exactly. Boom, 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 boom.
Why? Because all things male and penal related, phallic, are praised, and every sperm is sacred. Again, I always just like think of it as like a legions, like Xerxes' legions of little fuckers, like coming after me. I think of like millions of toddlers running through the desert with Xerxes headdresses and shit, like rabid zombies at my fucking vagina. That's what I think. So I'm always upon the opinion that nice guys really do finish last, and on your titties, right? Like, I want to know where that is. I want to keep track of all them Bens and Susies and little Tommies. I don't need them making the sand run at the Empire.
So basically, you're talking about some zombie tadpoles that can attach their cells to your life like a 18-year-old leech. Is that what you're saying? that you gotta love.
Millions of them, millions, and they're coming at me. Like that's what I see when he's making that like Xbox face. No. You're sending legions after me of like, your fucked up uncle and versions of your mom. Like, no.
Tony, have you heard any things about women and pussy that you have figured out as an adult are untrue? Same question for the ladies, about ladies or men.
Okay. All right. Am I on?
Yes.
Okay. About ladies that aren't true.
or men, whatever.
No, actually, Well,
So,
see, that's what I'm saying.
so all
I
the
got good information, man.
that's what
I
I'm
got
saying.
good information.
So
I
did you
always
have
had a
older?
homegirl that told me everything of everything. You
Did
know
you
what I
have
mean?
older sisters?
I had 4 sisters, and they're all older than me.
Okay,
They
so
taught
you
me part of it, and then I had homegirls amongst them that taught me everything about it.
Carmela, Lydia, either one of you?
So I have older siblings, but I didn't have older siblings that shared information. And a lot of my friends actually didn't end up having their first time until like after they graduated college. So we didn't really have notes to share at the same time.
Did religion
But
lock y'all down, or what locked y'all down?
Well, I think we were a bunch of nerds, so I was like we were like so focused on school, that like it wasn't like a priority where a lot of people in my class felt it was a priority to them, but it wasn't top of the mind that I needed to get laid if I had a boyfriend, even if I didn't have a boyfriend, like I wasn't on the hunt to find somebody, and I just think my friends were kind of like the same with that. But I think the older cousin that he was having sex in my aunt's house, and we would be like me and my cousins, like for neighbors would be at the house while he's having sex with some girl, and he was really bad at covering up his tracks, and he'd bring different girls home, and the girls all thought they were like the only one, and I think I blurted out something to one of them, just being silly and not knowing what I was saying. But I think I learned from that, like in a way, like growing, like my uncle's like, oh, it's always about one man, one woman, whatever, and then I'm like, I think I just kind of grew up like, oh, it doesn't have to be that way as long as you are upfront about it. So I think that's something that I learned just because my cousin was a lot older, and I would just see like the revolving door. And it's like, as long as you like just told these girls like it wasn't just them, they wouldn't get mad at you. So I think like the whole monogamy thing, I kind of just like, I think if you're like, I just kind of if you were like open about it, that you weren't interested in being monogamous, then it would be okay as long as the other like you're really upfront with that person. That's the only thing I guess I would say.
That's a hard one for a lot of people to get past, right? And one of the things that Lydia said that I thought was absolutely brilliant earlier in the show, Tony and Carmela, or rather, let me try it again. One of the brilliant things that her HoeNess said earlier in the show was she said that jealousy isn't like that iffy. It's like either the person's a jealous person or they're not. Right? It's not like, or you know what I mean? Or there's a person, and more like a person isn't jealous, right? Or they are, or they are kind of jealous or are jealous. She didn't say it like that, but that's what I kind of got out of it. Where either a person is self-conscious about their own body parts or not, right? So, like we discussed on the previous Twat Talk, I don't know that somebody who allows their dick to be put in a knot likes their dick.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean,
What?
Okay, Tony, would you let somebody put your dick in a knot?
Hell no. It would not happen. It ain't going to go in a knot. For the first part, because once you touch it, well, if it's a female, that's the only way, and it's the only way I'm going to let you touch it anyway. But
well, what happens when a dude touches it? What happens when a dude touches it?
No dude's gonna touch it. That's what I'm talking about. Ever.
Well, what if he had like on lead press on nails? Would it work then?
Really? Seriously?
I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry. I'll edit this shit out. Probably. The question previously,
No.
which was what was it? There was a question I asked you both, all three of you. Oh, what were there some things that you heard about guys that were false prior to you finding out for yourself?
Yeah. I mean, my mother promised me an entirely different world than the world that I found. But she explained sex to me in hyper medical terms. She would use words like ejaculate. Even as a kid, I remember one of my first questions to her was, so it's like spitting in someone else's mouth. And my mom just looks at me and she was like, a little bit, yeah. It's a lot like that.
Wow.
So,
that's a little extreme.
I had sex explained really medically to me to begin with. Definitely before like exploration ever happened. But balls were a whole new thing for me. Testicles are still one of the funniest things to me. And like you're just told as a female, or at least I was told, like, just don't be touching balls. Don't be looking at balls wrong. Don't be like whispering at them. Don't be doing nothing with them balls. And then you get a little bit older. You know, you get a little bit older and you find that that's not like a widespread thing, and you get that first dude and you're scared as fuck because he's like, touch my balls, and you're like, how? Like, you know, like, what type of pressure do I apply to these things that have their own elevator mechanism and respond to temperature gauging and like float? You know?
Well, first you got to warm them up.
I was terrified of testicles. I was terrified. So that went through me. Hand jobs, I think, were told to me to be like the objective. And again, I remember the first time how terrified I was when a dude told me to use two hands. And my first thought was, how, baby? Like, I'm pretty much full tip to stern, like with one hand. Like, where am I gonna put a second one? You know?
I got one hand on it, and I can barely see the tip in that motherfucker.
You know, so those were surprise conversations for me later in life. Like, I didn't really know what to do with that.
The balls, gently. Yeah, you're right. Two hands. What would you do with the other hand?
Right, it's those abstract requests.
I'll tell you, my mother never gave me the sex talk. I learned it from just going in the library about, like, you know, the anatomy and such. So I just thought the balls were just there because, you know, sperm and whatnot, that they were just there. So I didn't know what to do with them until a guy literally took my hand and put them on his balls, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like, do I squeeze them? You know, like
tickle.
Yeah, like what do I do? And
do you flick it?
You know, and he was just like, you can just, you know, lightly like hold them, and I'm like, okay, but this is weird. It was because I'm like, I just thought they were there, like just a part, like just an organ on the body. I didn't know there were things you had to do, like you could do with them. So that was.
I like to think of them like tits. They're like they're tits between their legs, and like as far as like having like different cellular structures and like all sorts of weird shit inside, like
veins.
they're kind of similar in that fashion. Like And just like tits,
No.
some women like their tits played with and some women don't.
That's a
Yeah.
good point.
Well,
You know what? That's a very good point. Think about that, right? Okay, I haven't met anybody who likes this. I've never attempted to do this to anybody. I've seen in a porn somebody do it, and my guess, it would not be a wise choice off the top. But and ladies, you can tell me if this is true or not. Do some women like their titties slapped?
I don't, but some do.
I'm not really into it, no.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like the same thing. Like some women like their ass slapped, some women don't.
That's very true. You know,
I'd prefer my ass slapped rather than my titties slapped. Like, I don't know. Like, for me, titties look too much like a speed bag if you're trying to hit them, you know? Like, I don't like the visuals on that, really. And it's close to my face. Like, and that definitely does not turn me on. I'm definitely not that girl that's like, yeah, take a swing at me, tiger. You know?
How about this? Look, I don't necessarily need my ass slapped or want my ass slapped, but I think Tony can agree with me with this one. If somebody was going to slap something, I would prefer it be an ass than rather my nuts.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right? By the way, we're going to call this section touch my balls. How?
Sensitively or not at all.
That's not true in some cases, my man. That is not true. Some men like increasing pressure. Some men like real firm grips on their shit. Like, and you have to like master the staff at full speed at the same time. Like, it can be aerobic. You know.
That's yeah. They already got problems. But no, don't mess with
But think about it. Everybody's sensitivity is different, y'all. Think about it, right? So somebody's circumcised, somebody's uncircumcised, somebody wore kilts, somebody wore tight denim. You know what I mean? And then you got
men with helmets don't like rough sex.
Men with helmets?
Yeah, I mean,
you mean like short
dudes
bus?
That need like. No, I think that circumcised men run a greater chance of needing like intense pressure or like added sensitivity. And I would be willing to bet that it probably has something to do with the circumcision itself. Because in my experience of like full men, because I am all about foreskin, by the way, like genital mutilation is bad, okay? Unless you're hyper religious, I don't understand what the reason is that you would do that to somebody. I think foreskin's great. I wouldn't want anybody to take my hood. You know.
Yeah.
But I find that men that have fully intact are incredibly sensitive. And there is not a need for as much like, I don't know, abuse. That's just in my dick history.
Dick history on Twat Talk
I think
Tuesday.
There's truth in that. There's definitely truth in that because I know like the people that I've been with that were not circumcised. I don't feel like I had to put in as much work. Like they were a lot more sensitive than those that were circumcised, and I also felt like I didn't have to do as much to keep things going. Like they were already like they were feeling everything.
Boing.
Wow.
Right, and that's the thing is like for a lot of dudes, once they're at full staff, like that whole foreskin thing isn't really as much of an issue anymore. Like dick's a dick at that point.
Dick's a dick.
So
you heard it here.
The foreskin shame that we do in this country is intense, and I think it's ridiculous. I'm glad that my like kids' generation has taken a different look at that as a practice, because I feel like it really may be fucking y'all up. Like I think if we eradicated like the common use of it, you would also start to see ED drops.
That's a very
you
know what?
Like we sell ED drugs a lot.
Let her keep going because she's right. She's right. So think about this. Before, I remember this. We were talking about how men were blaming women for ED, right? ED was really just a bunch of lazy bees who didn't want to suck it, right? But no, if somebody hadn't fucked your shit up in the first place, maybe it would work today. How about that?
Can I tell you this? Your eating habits is what fucks with your ED in the first place. Okay?
I've heard that before. I've heard a brother look at me and say,
yeah, brother look at you and say what?
Go ahead.
The punchline coming. But Tony, go ahead.
Okay. Now, if you everybody yelling about HGH and stuff like that, and part of that, or what you get from that, is by fasting, which is a very well-known practice where you stop eating a certain time of the day and you don't start until the next day, a certain part of the day, and that helps your HGH, and which helps your erection, and you don't need Viagra or anything else.
Are you saying you can fast your way to a better dick?
Yeah.
Fast your way to a better dick. You heard that here. Don't eat, and your dick might work again. This is Twat Talk on Your Fault for Listening, Tuesday Night Live.
I've had a dude tell me and turn me down for an evening because he was like, girl, that looks great, but I just ate a big-ass steak. And I was like, what does that mean? He's like, I can't be fucking on days I'm eating red meat.
Wow.
What?
Oh, I've reached that age now. All right.
That's weird.
All right.
That's weird.
Apparently diet is a very serious matter for some men. I have heard that before.
What kind of vegan deacon were you dating?
Yo, let me tell you, I've heard from guys that have gone vegan that they swear that they have better erection, they have better sex. I mean, I think half of the time they're freaking lying so that they can get like vegan girls, but I do have a friend that he follows a whole food plant-based diet, and he actually like no oil, no gluten, no sugar, like. He's really hardcore, and he's actually started up a business. But he's actually he says like his sex life has improved since he gave up meat and processed food. So there could be some truth to that.
Maybe. So really what you're saying is we need to come with some commercials, right? How about this? Dick don't work right. All you need is a little vegan cheese and some hunger and some vegan cheese, right? So now look, remember Sean kept saying how funny that was when you said vegan nut cheese, right?
Yes.
And we'll have Tony be our spokesperson. Right, he'll tell the story about no, forget that for now. But here's an old Red Fox joke about ED. He said panic is when you can't. When it's the first time, you can't do it a second time. And desperation is the first time. Panic is the first time you can't do it a second time. And desperation is the second time you can't do it the first time.
Yes.
Right? I mean, that would be kind of rough, right? You're man. And maybe it's just because you ate too much or didn't take care of your body other ways. Your feet were cold. There could be all kind of things where your dick not to work on a particular day.
My feet was cold, baby.
I've actually said that. I got to give you some socks.
I mean, nobody likes cold feet during that process. I'm absolutely a
No,
fuck with her socks
no,
on
no,
type of
no.
girl.
Exactly.
You got to warm up first. My socks off, but I got my feet got to warm up first.
Listen to you. You like, wait a second. So you saying
Well,
that?
I mean,
What's funny about?
I mean, for me to get comfortable, I mean, the second part, not the first part. The first part, not the second part.
Hot.
You know what I mean?
See,
All right.
girl, I like to know that you got a sock foot. You know what I mean? Sock foot, don't sock the foot, baby.
I'm just saying, no socks.
So Tony, are you saying that you got to take your socks off?
Course.
You said you got to take your socks off. Your foot's got to go cold, and then back to room temperature.
You got to get some foot action. You know what I'm saying? Some foot foreplay jumping off, man. Come on, man. You know what I mean?
You're gonna have to unpack
Warm
that
the
statement.
toes up.
What do you mean by foot foreplay? Because that can
Warm
mean a
the
lot of
toes
things.
up. Kind of rubbing the toes together while you're having foreplay. You know what I'm saying? You're warming them up.
Okay, there you go. I mean, I can understand that, sharing the touch of nerve endings, right?
Right.
The toes, and making a better connection.
I guess I have a foot fetish or something. I mean.
Well, now see, you said something
and you're
there.
a Leo?
You
That doesn't
guess?
sound right.
I'm just joking. No, I'm
So
not.
are you saying, Lydia, that or her HoeNess, that Leos often are not into paws?
Yeah. I would say they're big into hair pulling. Like they're hair pullers. They're scalp massagers.
Ooh, wow.
They're
scalp massaging, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're big cats, so in that same kind of general, not so much on like, when was the last time you tried to like suck a lion's toe? No.
When was the last time you suck a lion's toe? Come on, that's your fault for watching.
It's the truth. It's the truth. Meow.
Hey, y'all.
Yeah.
Wow. Go ahead.
Yeah, Leos like to be pampered too. That's the other thing. Y'all like love pampering and praise. My son is a Leo. His would-be father was a Leo. I've had a bunch of Leos in my life, most of my life, so I'm real familiar with that zodiac sign.
Okay. It's got me figured out in 1 second, huh?
Well, I mean, you surprised me. You must have something else up in that whole star chart for you to be all like liking toes and stuff.
I didn't say that. I like warm feet. That's all. I didn't say nothing about.
You know what? That's the title of this. That's the title of this clip. I didn't say I like toes. I said I like warm feet.
Not in my mouth. Okay, just on my feet. That's all.
Well, have you ever had a friend into a particular fetish and you just wonder, how'd you get there? Like one woman said that she had a friend that was into dudes' elbows. And I was like, well, that's like the texture of the balls, right? It's the same kind of texture.
Whoa, dude. Whoa.
It is.
Did I just blow your mind right there? If you wonder
I
what the
mean,
balls
either
are
you have
like,
incredibly soft elbows and you take care of yourself like a gentleman, or you have some incredibly rough testicles.
Oh wow.
they call them sandpaper balls. No,
He's not talking.
no, I'm
He's
just
not
joking.
talking about the roughness. He's talking about the wrinkleness.
Yeah, it's like elephant skin. How it
Yeah,
appears on, it's like really tough skin. Like it can't.
elasticity.
Yes. It's not like the skin on your arm or even the back of your hand. It's a even more dense version of it. And elbows. Okay, well, I don't know. I was trying to figure out why somebody was saying they liked elbows. Do y'all know? Can you imagine what
Um,
somebody could get into about an elbow?
No.
Nope.
Okay,
No.
so another question we had before asking women, did either of you ever have any girlfriends that thought, or boyfriends that thought Tiger Woods was hot?
No.
No.
it was about the money. That's about it. Uh-huh.
I was always more engaged that there was a black man on a golf course, because where I'm from, I'm sure they're not allowed there. That was my only.
Yeah. It was a black man kicking all they white asses.
No, it was because that question was asked because during Tiger's first, stuff that was going on in the news. Now, um, 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 uh, and then they're talking about Tiger was a womanizer and all this in the news, but we had noticed that on like me on the Ty and Trav show, a dude who's picking up waitresses at Chili's ain't really some kind of womanizer. You know what I mean? That would be somebody, if you're a 100 millionaire and you're picking up the waitress in places, you're not right. You're not going to get any votes for Pimp of the Year. Oh, Lydia, back one of the things about the whole HoeNess thing has to be the part of pimping yourself versus being pimped.
Okay, earmarked.
Mm-hmm. Look, Carmela's ready to go to bed, so we should shut this down probably.
I'm still up.
Okay, good. Take over, Lydia.
I'm on the East Coast, but I'm beast mode.
I know. No,
It was a rare thing. Usually
and
it
then you're
doesn't.
right. Carmela's up. Let's go. All right. So she's right. She's on the East Coast. She's it's 11:04 for her. So you want me to keep asking questions? I can come up with another question. Okay, ladies.
Going back to fetishes. That's if you wouldn't mind. I know guys who have it's a weird fetish, but they like women that have children, and they seek them out, and they kind of get off on the fact that they think they can do whatever they want and there's no responsibility attached. I know a few guys that purposely, like, that's their thing. Women that have children that aren't theirs.
That could be a fucking pedophile. That would be my first thought. Lydia?
Yeah, I don't like. Yeah. I'm a single mom, and I've been banging boots as long as my kids have been alive. But I have a strict rule about meeting my kid. I have a strict rule about even talking about being a mom with a motherfucker. And if you like Thomas at a fucking park coming up to me and like being like, "Hey, why don't I teach your kid how to pitch a ball?" I'm probably gonna tell you to go fuck yourself. Like, I don't like dudes that try to pick me up for that purpose. Like that seems predatory to me more than like a fetish thing. Like I'd be more worried about him trying to fuck my kid.
You know, in the past, I didn't want to date people who had kids because I didn't want the kids being attached to my big Harry and Henderson ass. You know what I mean? Because they'd be fucking them up. You know what I mean? If I ain't gonna really be around, how can I make them, you know, be cracking them up and making them laugh and teaching them shit and then stop? You know what I mean? That'll be fucked up. I mean, that was my mindset, right? Does that make sense, Joe?
Yeah.
No, it totally makes sense. And I think some of the guys that I knew that were into it, like they had this whole thing, like they had no interest in the kids, or so they said, right?
Shit.
And that they were just like, you know, they like that they could literally come and go. And that, you know, she's already got her family and whatnot, and they just felt like there was no responsibility on their end. You know, obviously that's usually not the case. It's generally not how it goes. And they end up splitting with the person because, you know, usually the woman is expecting something more, or the guy ends up getting attached, or this guy is a fucking freak. But it's just weird. Like I had guys literally tell me like that's what they get off on, the fact that this woman is like already in their mind like set, and so she hooking up with him and she's looking to continue that. So they feel like it's like free range with, you know, do whatever with the woman, and they can just be in and out.
Yeah, that's
I
just
wish
bad
that's how I got.
information.
I wish I got sought out like that. Most of the dudes that like are seeking me out if I'm a mom is because they want to have more babies, and I have to be that obnoxious mom that's like, oh no, one and done, did it right the first time, I'm good, motherfucker. And that's been a problem. Like I just recently had to set this as like a hard line that from here on out, like I'm not dating anybody unless they express avidly disgust for the idea of reproducing again. Like I don't even want a maybe, or like I would consider it if it happened. Like I want a hard line motherfucking no. Because like I said, my mom promised me this world of like dudes that didn't want to get married and didn't want to have babies. I've had to have baby and marriage conversations with like 90% of the dudes I've been in a relationship with. So that hasn't worked out for me very well. But I've known dudes to try to hit me up like that because they think because I'm a mom, therefore I would be like happy to bequeath them with an heir.
You know, that was an old way of thinking, and guys used to think that, man, I don't want to have a baby. I ain't thinking about having no baby. Me and my friends, when we were in high school, those are conversations we had, right? Hey, man, like I think one of the guys had the pregnancy scare where he'd gotten somebody pregnant, and the whole question was whether or not she was going to have it or not. And once that time was over, we all had a conversation about not having or even thinking about trying to get anybody pregnant till we're 35. You know what I mean? Figure out our life. And, you know, and there's a few of us that still stayed stuck with that because, you know, well, just in general, doing comedy, I'm a child. So, and my jokes are children. And you can't be the star of the show and supporting cast at the same time to that level of need of supporting cast. You know what I mean? And, you know, look, this is the thing. Smart people who don't want to have kids who end up with the mistake of having one, but jump both feet in and take the responsibility of doing that thing right. You know, sometimes they can make a really great child because they took the time to teach them all the stuff they needed to learn without having the distraction of another child. Right?
But you got to understand, just like in idiocracy, the dumb people don't care. They having kids all over. Outnumbering your smart kids.
Oh
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the points we said. If there was a birth control pill for men that came out, the smart women um, would have a hard time finding a man smart enough to keep taking his pill. You know what I mean? No matter what, you know what I mean? Because a smart woman wouldn't want somebody who would just willy nilly just stop taking her pill for her. That should be a test. You know, but okay, so I'll come up with another crazy sex question. Oh no, she said fetishes. Um, uh, what are some other fetishes you've heard of that you get or don't get?
Well, like, do I go? Do I go? I guess I
Mm-hmm.
go.
Yeah, you.
So this one was an inaction, and I still don't think I fully figured it out, which is the whole autoerotic asphyxiation. One, I'm not a dom. As aggressive as I am, it's not really my true like center. I definitely I'm a good switch, but I'm not a dom. So I was hesitant at the idea anyways when it was first presented to me that my partner wanted me to choke them. And I don't have great luck. Like, I'm a two-time Dewey, like, so I didn't feel like my chances of being able to pull this trick off without having to explain it to like either the EMTs or the medical examiner later
Or the
was
coroner.
really
Right.
high.
Yeah,
And I didn't want to have
jury.
have that fucking conversation with nobody. Like, what happened, ma'am? Well, I was just getting the hang of it, and then I got into it, and then I realized he was out of it.
I started to come. I forgot about him.
Just like he forgot about me last week.
Right. That, or I was really going to be having to figure out how to like body bag his fat ass all the way down my fucking stairs. So these options didn't seem great to me, so I resisted. And I'm pretty sure that he retrospectively looks back at our relationship with like, I really wish she had choked me. And I was just too square, to do that shit or something. It was just more, I didn't feel efficient,
But that's because you're thinking it through. Think about how many other people in that situation don't think it through and end up fucking somebody up or fucking their life up okay, so this
I have the follow-up story to this though, which is when it was done to me in return, it was an interesting experience. It's not one that I would say I have a fetish for though. Like it's a lot like drugs, and I get drugs are fun, but I'm old. Right? Like I don't need whippets in the middle of sex to get where I need to get. And that was kind of what it was like. Like before I knew that I was about to black out, everything was like really happy and like fuzzy. And then I was like, oh shit, bitch, you gotta tap out. You gotta tap out. Tap, 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 tap. Right? Because at that point I didn't even remember I had legs or arms or anything because I was just getting choked out. But I don't see how that experience is necessarily like
appealing,
sexual in nature, because it would actually stop my ability to come until I got oxygen again. Like once I was breathing again, yeah, I'd come. But like the absence of oxygen did not like produce the sexual sensation that I had been promised or that people seem to like get from that experience.
Well, think about this. You said you had no problem coming earlier. You had no problem multiple. So if you factor that in, we're talking. So why would you, who have no problem orgasming, want to do what somebody who does have orgasm needs to do to come. And it's not going to make you better. It's going to just help them get to your first level. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So like, right. So all of that was what somebody was doing that couldn't come. And if you
I mean,
can't, yeah.
I did it because he was into it. Right. I mean, and I was like, well, I'm a sub in this relationship. And unfortunately, as a sub and being a girl my size, you're left with two picks pretty much in life. Like, you're either going to find a dom that's going to treat you like a baby doll, or you're going to find a dom that's going to treat you like a rag doll. And at my age, I'm going to prefer the baby doll aspect to it. But sometimes it gets a little aggressive, and that's their kink, right? That was obviously their kink in the moment. Like, something about choking me out was pleasurable to them. But I don't understand, like, thinking back to the dude that asked me to choke him, I don't understand what he got out of it. I don't understand what people who are on the receiving end of that, like, I don't understand the actual kink or thrill for them.
Well, okay, so
on levels.
So one of those things like that was, okay, so when I worked in the porn store, I came in one day and there was S&M video on, and the woman was tied up, and the guy had these mouse traps with weights on them, and he attached them to her pussy lips. And I'm wondering, how's he getting off on that at all? I mean, so it must have been her, right? 'Cause he's wearing like a hooded sweatsuit. So that must be all for her effect, right? That she's, a cast member in the movie Saw. Right. And right. And mouse traps on her pussy lips. And then he attached weights to the mouse traps. And I thought, who's trying to break somebody's pussy lips? I mean, why would you do that?
That's weird.
And it's weird. But there's people like that get off on it on the receiving end, and in that kind of relationship, sometimes that's considered a gift to them.
Yes. Go ahead, Carmel, explain that. So you're saying that somebody doing that forced somebody to take the time to take a chance on smashing their fingers in the mousetrap and setting it all up and doing it all that, right? For that person who needed that to feel better. Okay.
Yeah, that's some of the relationships are like in like some of these BDSM relationships. That's what it is, and it's weird for those that are not in it to understand, but it's kind of like, you've done good. I'm going to give you what I know you like or what you want, and that's kind of how that relationship works, and then going back to the auto asphyxiation thing, I had a friend who broke up with somebody because that person wanted him to choke her, and his response was, "I'm a black man and you're a white woman. How am I supposed to explain this if something goes wrong?"
Well, and that once again is somebody understanding that what somebody's asking for needs a certain level of proficiency, and it ain't just like sticking a peg in a hole. You know what I mean? This is, hey, especially after George Floyd. Hey, right? If he did something wrong, something happened, he'd be the revenge for George Floyd killer or some shit. You know what I mean? On the news. Yeah.
But I think it.
Damn.
I think it goes to, like, some people not really having the conversations about what you like and what you don't like. And sometimes it only happens when you're right in the moment of it. And so, choke me, and like, and then you have to make like a quick decision if you're going to engage in that.
You're right. How does that? I'm about to come. Poke me in the eye.
Right.
But once again, everybody gets so much disinformation, misinformation, bad information, and so people are all over the spectrum in different ways.
Yeah.
And and people's proficiency is at different levels. I'll be right back.
I think that was your fault for listening.
Yeah, right.
Whoa! Oh my goodness gracious!
I will say that I'm glad that at least being on the receiving end of getting choked out, like the dude had definitely done it before. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
There was clear like
that was his
instructions.
fetish.
That was his thing. And so like
Yeah.
I was okay with that. But apparently I wasn't okay with being asked to do it to somebody even though that was their fetish. Like I was like, oh no. Because I don't have those skills apparently, and I wasn't about to be that bitch that has like the YouTube history that's like how to choke big white fat fuck. How?
Mm-mm.
Right?
I'm from the old school. I'm from the old school where they it's all about, well, what do you want, baby? Oh, my bad. Sorry, I went Barry White on y'all for a minute. Go ahead. Choke somebody out. Okay, what else?
I would say that I
find communication. I think there's a lot of communication that needs to be had, and I think some people think, like in the middle of sex, that they've communicated, and you can be just taken off guard, like real fast. I've been asked to do really messed up stuff, and I'm like, well, wait, nope. Well,
my question is, are you trying to like split the time continuum with sex or what? It's just sex.
I was just about to say I don't need to dress it up a bunch. That's my thing. Like I resent being thought of as like vanilla because I don't particularly have some sort of like BDSM kink. Like
yeah.
I mean and like that makes me boring. My thing is like I can come. I don't need like a big horse and pony show of any kind to do that. And I had to quit fucking this like younger 20-something generation because they're just like same fuckers all the way. Like there's so much taboo and about fitting into some specific kink. Like it seems very committed, like that everybody has to have a kink, and if you haven't discovered, or if you don't have one, that means you haven't discovered it.
It's a dare to them.
Yeah, and that's that moment where I have to tell people how slutty I am, where I'm like, no, doll, like I have definitely tried it all. It's just like I know what works, and I'm not trying to do anything other than come in sex. I'm not using it as like a way to work out. I'm not using it as a way to work out other emotional trauma, nothing. So
you can't see me throwing my hands up in the air like, yeah. Like, of course, that's all it's supposed to be. It also could just be that I'm lazy.
Like, maybe I don't see the art form to sex in that. Like, this whole new bondage method where it's like the super Asian, like, tying you up shit, like, with all the knots. And I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing the whole time? You are tying me up in, first off, one knot would have done. I'm 4'9". What is the point? Like, is it the sensation of, like, pulling the rope? Is that what's, like, doing it for, like, who is that for as the fetish? Would be a real question of mine.
Like, what are you putting fruit in a basket? I mean,
are we basket weaving back there? Like,
oh yeah, there you go. You learn basket weaving during the pandemic. What the hell is going on here?
How much time do you think I have? Did I not announce that I have a kid and a life and stuff?
Right.
You're absolutely right. Just so you know, first of all, I was out smoking, and Kathleen was listening to the show, so I turned the speaker on so I can still listen to y'all. And Kathleen said, "It's called ropeling." No, rope play.
Yeah, role play or shibari is what it's called.
Right, but what Lydia kind of flowed into is this is a wealthy person thing. Only somebody rich could buy all those outfits and the rope, right? Special rope, special masks and hats, you know, or whatever, right?
Take a class on rope tying too, right?
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah, and then you got then you got to have safe words, right? And it got to be a word you could say mumbling, right? That somebody can, you know, you know, and that part, you know, that part for me as a comedian, having to have a safe word would mess me up because I start thinking of funny things to say, you know, funny safe words like snickerdoodle, you know, or you know, what are some, if anybody knows, what are some common safe words?
Mine's popcorn.
Popcorn. Oh, how's that a safe word?
Well,
because what else sounds like popcorn? You know, like what are you gonna mistake me hearing or me saying from popcorn?
Right. Have you ever had sex, Tony, ever and thought or said popcorn? No.
I never had sex where I needed a safe word. I would not know.
But no, but that was perfect right there. I mean, now that is a clip right there. Now that is a clip right there on Your Fault for Watching. This is Your Fault for Watching Tuesday night Twat Talk. Go ahead, Lydia. Do the station identification.
You're listening to Twat Talk Tuesdays with her HoeNess and the Big Funny on Your Fault for Watching.
Tonight we got Carmela. Oh, we got what was it? Her cheesy veganness. What was it?
You called me vegan lemon cheese, but we can come up with something better than that.
I think we can too. Vegan lemon cheese. You know, that could be a safe word too, because you're gonna never say that. Vegan lemon cheese. But popcorn is perfect. Popcorn is perfect, actually. Now you know, right?
It's worked. It's worked for years. Just saying, like it's. You know, nobody mistakenly hears popcorn.
You know, somebody could be doing it a certain way and yell out corn.
Still unlikely. Never had unlikely. That request yet. I did date a dude and he broke up with me, and right after dated a cam girl, and her specialty was sticking pumpkins and gourds up her ass.
Damn.
Jeez.
And that's what I got for being nosy and trying to internet check on who my ex was fucking. That was the payment I got. I had to watch a spaghetti squash go up this girl's ass and know that somehow this man was so bored with me that he went from fucking me to fucking something that, like, you know, has vegetative matter, you know?
Yeah, that's a Circus Olay ass right there. That's next level. Wow. But once again, it's there's so many places a person can start, right? When they what happens when you have your first orgasm can if you started with a carrot, yeah, by the time you're whatever 26, you could be squashing about. This is Your Fault for Listening and Your Fault for Watching a simulcast. Oh my goodness. How you doing over there, Carmela?
I'm good.
Okay. Popcorn. That was so perfect. Oh, man, I'm still thinking about that. Popcorn.
That's a good song, by the way.
Yeah.
That's the popcorn song right there.
Yeah.
You know another safe word could be then Orville Redenbacher.
Oh, that would just shut everything off.
Yeah. Jiffy. All right, y'all. We done 2 hours and 41 minutes. Anybody got anything else?
No, let's cut it.
All right. This has been your fault for watching. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Carmela. Thank you, HoeNess. I'm Travis Simmons, the Big Funny. See you next time. Check us out on Your Fault for Watching, YF4W on YouTube, the Your Fault for Watching, your YF4W page and group on Facebook. And here we are. This is our Uber conference, uberconference.com/yourfault4listening. Our phone number here is 253-366-5075. Call us anytime. 2 people on the line. It starts recording and boom, there's a show. This has been Your Fault for Watching. Thank you all.